Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on the two new DC Cinematic Universe trailers that came out of Comic-Con over this past weekend as of the time of this recording. The ones were Justice League and Wonder Woman, respectively. I gotta say, from right out of the gate, I am uber stoked. If you've been following my channel for any amount of time and come across any of the videos talking about DC Cinematic Universe properties, DC Comics, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, all that kind of stuff, you should pretty much know that I love it. DC is my go-to comic fix when it comes to, most properties on screen, live action, cartoon, or otherwise. I am not a Marvel hater. I love Marvel as well. I grew up right alongside, in my fandom of Superman and Batman was Spider-Man and the Hulk and things of that sort. And but I've always sort of leaned more so toward DC, the fantastical, the mythological, and Superman is my all-time favorite superhero. Usually Batman would be pretty much second, and then Aquaman. Although as an anime fan, I got to put in Saitama from One Punch Man as well, at least in the top 5 somewhere. And if you know that series, I love you. But we basically have these two new trailers giving us some new footage, some peeks, and seeing Gal Gadot just kicking all kinds of ass and hearkening back to the mythological aspects of the origins of Wonder Woman, having been created by Zeus and everything like that, as she tells Chris Pine's Steve Trevor, who, he has a lot of charm as Captain Kirk in the Star Trek films. I've not really seen much of his work outside of that, so seeing him playing a character like Trevor, there are going to be sort of holdover elements, I would assume, in the persona of his character. But because this is going to be set, unless I'm misinformed, during World War I era, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, how, man's world, if you will, evolves and shapes Wonder Woman and who she is and how she comes to view the world. As we know, in, Batman v Superman, at least the Ultimate Edition, which I will just briefly aside say I freaking loved. I had a really good time with Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, the theatrical release, basically. I was pretty happy with that, but, once the Ultimate Edition came out, it's kind of like, okay, well, that just was like, made that much better and much more enjoyable, and we got so much more depth of character in Clark Kent, Kal-El, the last son of Krypton, Superman himself, as well as the depth and the gravitas in Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne / Batman, and seeing little glimpses of things like, Darkseid, potentially seeing this creature Doomsday throwing down, seeing Wonder Woman herself, and, things like Aquaman and Cyborg and The Flash, the aforementioned. I just thought the Ultimate Edition kicked all kinds of ass. It perfected something that was already well enough to my palate in any case, fanboy wise. And so, to see the expansion of this cinematic universe, a lot of people said, DC's doing it wrong, comparing it to Marvel. And I've been a mainstay proponent of suggesting they never needed to do it that way. You have the two most well-known superheroes in the history of the world, Superman and Batman. You begin a movie with them, you pair them together, and then you expand out from that. Was what I always felt was, DC's best case scenario for a mission statement in cinematic form. And that's kind of what they're doing. And I, at least to my, again, fanboy nature, my DC Comics fanboy nature, it's working for me, and it's working for the weekend. Between Man of Steel and, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition, I'm just in DC Cinematic Universe hog heaven. And Gal Gadot was no, exception to that rule in Batman v Superman. She kicked all kinds of ass. I don't know that we actually see that much more of her, if any more of her, between the two versions of Batman v Superman, the theatrical and the Ultimate Edition. But what we do see impressed the ever-loving hell out of me, And I'm ready to carry an entire film centered around this actress playing this character. And, the time setting, the set piece, the backdrop of her film seems like it's going to be very intriguing. I don't I remember people basically bringing up ideas like, well, this might closely resemble too much Captain America, the First Avenger, although that was World War II era. And I don't really have those fears or concerns myself. I don't think they're going to go over the top with the sort of Americana, that vibe that Captain America embodies. Wonder Woman is a wholly different animal. She can be compared by the sort of uneducated to Superman for her, basically black hair and red and blue sort of attire, her armor, her costume, whatever you want to call it. And the fact that she, in some incarnations, has the power of flight as well as super strength and all these things. But she's a wholly different beast from Superman, Kal-El, the last son of Krypton. She's a wholly different beast from, Steve Rogers, Captain America. And this is going to be an era where it's the first modern world war. It's a world in turmoil. It's going to be very interesting to see a sort of sense of female empowerment without getting sort of a SJW on you at all. I just think that's awesome. I want to see kick-ass chicks in superhero movies more and more and more. And I love it. I was stoked seeing her whipping around the lasso of truth and everything like that in the trailer, throwing down, throwing people all, kinds of off the screen and everything like that. And that's what stood out to me the most, probably. And then toward the end, Etta Candy very much being impressed with her demeanor. So yeah, mad stoked for Wonder Woman. Justice League. Holy hell, people. I mean, they also released a sort of I guess you could say wallpaper image of the cast of Justice League. We don't see Henry Cavill's Superman in the footage from Comic-Con, which I don't have a problem with, because I kind of want to go into this with that air of mystery. How are they going to bring Superman back exactly? What ramifications on the story and the plot for the Justice League film and the films beyond it? How will that take effect, his returning? But he does feature in the image, and you also see the Flash, you see Cyborg, you see Wonder Woman, you see Batman, and Aquaman. And the one sort of minor, I guess you could say, nitpick I have about the image, and we see a little of this going on in the trailer, is that the suits, the costumes for the Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman look just a little bit busy. It looks like there's a lot of meticulous stuff going on in their costumes. The Flashes, I don't mind as much, nearly as much, nor Aquaman's in that image as Cyborg's. And Cyborg's overall look, I kind of wish he had come across in the footage as having a more refined look. It looks very much, Michael Bay Transformers-esque, if you will, in how busy it is. There are so many sharp, jagged edges. There's the red sort of light going down his chest and everything. I think the sort of facial and head armor, cybernetic technology looks pretty damn good. But the rest of the suit, it's going to have to grow on me. I kind of wish they would have, sleeked him up a bit, made him look like a 1957 Chevy, something along those lines. Something, 60s-esque. Not necessarily in the vein of the comic counterpart for Cyborg, but maybe like a mesh of what you had with, this particular look that they're going for, and something maybe more akin to, a full-body armor sort of situation like the Teen Titans animated series Cyborg, less cartoony blue and stuff like that, more steel and metal sort of, but just sleeker, in design. And that's really my only gripe with the image and how we see Cyborg basically looking in this particular footage. And I know he's probably like right out of the gate being, Cyborg, being this persona, and maybe he'll have upgrades and they'll sleek up his design in later installments, or even maybe toward the end of the film, whatever happens. If he happens to be brought to the brink of death by whoever they're fighting. And I don't really know. I'm kind of trying to stay out of the loop as far as who they're going to be going up against. I know, Darkseid and all of that kind of stuff, but we don't necessarily know if we're going to get that full mast in this first Justice League film, and I'm a little sort of, mixed up as far as I know it was originally supposed to be a two-part sort of epic, two-film story, or story, in any case, a plot line that would stretch over two films. And I've since heard that one of the producers, I believe, has said, well, actually, we're going to be focusing the story on this first film. Maybe it'll continue into another one, but I assume they're kind of trying to treat this as a standalone, and then we'll see where we go from here based on how well or not the movie does. And basically looking at, the footage that we see, of course, we have Bruce Wayne trying to recruit these other metahumans that they've become aware of in Batman v Superman, Aquaman being the first, and the confrontation between them. I mean, it's kind of funny that they ended the trailer with Bruce Wayne saying, oh, I can hear you, or I hear you talk to fish, whatever it is. Like, I almost would have started the trailer with that and then evolved all the other scenes we see where, Curry's basically like, when he comes in, he's like, there's somebody who brings food to this village and whatever. And he turns around and he very ominously is just like, okay, talk. Like you see, Jason Momoa is going to own as Aquaman. He's going to change a lot of minds about how badass Aquaman actually is, if those minds haven't already been changed and affected in some way, shape, or form in the Justice League, New 52 comics, the Aquaman, Jeff Johns run and everything in the New 52. Just loved that first trade volume, and I got to catch up with a lot of the stuff that's come, after that. But Aquaman is badass, Aquaman for the win, and Momoa is going to own. I'm telling you right now, he might even steal the movie. And again, Superman and Batman, my number one, number two, most of the time, however I'm feeling, unless I get into a Spidey mood or, again, a Saitama mood, they are my top two. But there are days when Aquaman gets right up neck and neck with Batman and sometimes is almost skirting the cape of the Man of Steel in my, how much I like this particular hero and everything. And so he's all kinds of badass. You see he's all kinds of badass. And I can't wait to see him throwing mother trucking down. And, seeing basically Barry Allen, the DC Cinematic Universe version of Barry Allen. I've only seen a few episodes of the Flash television series. I've enjoyed them immensely. I am desperate to get, full season box set DVDs and such like that so I can continue to watch it. As well as I got to catch up on Arrow also, and Legends of Tomorrow I haven't even begun to dig into yet. But this version of Barry Allen is hilarious. I'm just a little concerned about his sort of nervous looking around. It kind of harkens back to me when we saw some of the earliest footage of the first Avengers movie, and you had Mark Ruffalo constantly rubbing his hands, and people were like, okay, is he going to do this through the whole movie? Is this how we're going to know, oh, he's going to Hulk out or he's nervous? This is how he tells us, we the audience, the little people, how he's nervous. He's rubbing his hands. Well, here we have Barry Allen. He's going to be nervously sort of looking around the room, He just kind of did that one too many times for me. But I love the whole interaction between he and Bruce Wayne, throwing the Batarang at him, his going into super speed. I love the effect with the electricity all surrounding him, all that kind of stuff. And he's in, in for the win because, damn it, people, I need friends. And of course, Bruce wholly agrees with that. And I think, again, his suit looks pretty damn awesome. I was actually pretty impressed with it. I kind of like the idea that it maybe harkens to being inspired by Wayne Tech or something along those lines. And more Ben Affleck as Batman. Give it to me, sucker, because he was awesome in Batman v Superman. One of the highlights of the film, even for those who divisively are against it and hate it, most people can at least say, the silver lining was Ben Affleck as Batman. And when we eventually get around to his standalone movie, it's going to be win-win all around. For both of these trailers, Wonder Woman and Justice League, you got this guy goosebumps. This fanboy, this DC Comics, DC Cinematic Universe fanboy, all kinds of goosebumps. And I can't wait for Suicide Squad. We also had I think they called it like a soundtrack remix trailer, gave us some of the footage we've seen already in some of the previous teasers and trailers, as well as some new scenes, and seeing more of Enchantress, I think, than we've seen previously in some of this new footage. That's another aspect. that I'm really stoked and really looking forward to. I'm kind of mixed on the allusions to the fact that the Suicide Squad might be the DC Cinematic Universe's answer to Guardians of the Galaxy. I kind of think they're two different animals. There are similarities for sure, but yeah, I just want to see Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and Will Smith as Deadshot, Jared Leto as Joker, and all the rest. I'm as stoked for that as I am for Wonder Woman and Justice League. And I'd love to hear from you guys, quite frankly, in the comments below. Love it or hate it, anything goes. Just love having that conversation. What you thought of these trailers. If you're a DC Comics fan, whether you are or not, are you stoked or not for these films upcoming? And that, ranges across the board as far as Wonder Woman, Justice League, as well as Suicide Squad. I've seen a Marvel Legends action figure reviewer. The primary focus of his channel is reviewing Marvel Legends, slowly branching out and being affected by the footage he's been seeing of Suicide Squad. And I love that. I love to live in a world where, yes, we can all have subjective tastes and values and things of that sort. I love being a comic fanboy that can love DC Comics, love Marvel Comics. I love being, a science fiction action adventure fan who can like Star Trek and Doctor Who and Star Wars and not have to constantly berate someone who doesn't like my favorite series more than the other. And, you can like Sherlock. You can be a Sherlockian who's read the novels like I have, as well as like the new incarnation that is the Benedict Cumberbatch series. I try to be positive, and I try to really enjoy as much as I can. I've had a lot of hardship in life. Who hasn't? We all have. And I just want to focus on as much positivity and as much enjoyment and contentment as I can as I get older. And watching movies like Star Trek Beyond, even though I'm a Trekkie who loves the original series and what I've seen of The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, the entirety of the Enterprise series, I love all the series. I don't need to complain or fight with people who like The Next Generation over Enterprise or don't like Enterprise at all. I don't need to fight with Marvel fanboys who, would disdain me for liking DC just a little smidge of a hint more and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, bring it with your thoughts and comments on these trailers, whether you love it or hate it, as I say. And just try to keep the peace and respect others' opinions if they're different from yours. So otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this hella good time to be a fanboy, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.